What's up, everybody? Parents George Will, and today I'm going to do a mixed reaction. Like, I'm going to react to about everything. The first video for today is things discovered through college horror stories by Mr. Nightmare.
The topic of today's video is college horror stories, whether they take place on campus or in a social setting such as college bars or parties. A big part of a person's college years will be the social aspect. Your social life may drastically improve from high school to college. However, many people don't realize the importance of smelling good while networking. People heavily judge you based on your scent, and smelling bad is a guaranteed way to make people not want to associate with you. Scentbird is your solution. It's a monthly subscription service that allows you to comes with a card to socialize with people. If you're not sure which fragrance is right for you, is the best fragrance for My name is Chuck. I graduated from the University of California, Berkeley in 2016. My college experience was perfect. I was part of a frat, I managed my studies well, and spent just the right amount of time chasing girls. I'm actually still friends with a lot of my old frat brothers, and I recently got engaged to my fiancée Rosie, whom I also met at Berkeley. If you had asked me my opinion of Berkeley when I was a freshman though, I can assure you that my answer would be very, very different. What I'm about to tell you is one of the main reasons why. I was never overly ambitious in high school. The Berkeley atmosphere was extremely foreign to me, and it was weird being surrounded by so many self-proclaimed high achievers. As a freshman, I was quickly swept up into the frenzy of career development and planning the next 30 years of your life as an 18-year-old. Silly, I know, but that was the nature of my school at the time. If you wanted to get any sort of offer in the business world, having a strong LinkedIn profile was a necessity. I can still remember the stress of cultivating a professional image online, as if my future hinged on which people I connected with and what skills I listed. Regardless, I checked all the boxes and began my search for a summer internship. It wasn't long before my inbox chimed with an actual meaningful message. To my genuine surprise, a prestigious business firm had reached out to me, expressing interest in my profile. It wasn't one of those bot messages either. The substance of the message indicated that this was actually a unique message designed specifically for me. I read it over like 6 times before finally responding, and after about a day and a brief correspondence, I was invited to a first-round interview. I spent hours researching the company so I'd know what to expect come the interview, and I prepped myself with all the sample questions I could find. I soon got a message from a guy named Armand Slowinski. I'll never forget that name for as long as I live. He stated that he was to be my interviewer, and naturally, the first thing I did was do some background research on the guy. However, excitement soon gave way to puzzlement. I scoured LinkedIn for Armand's profile, expecting to glean some insight into the person I'd soon be meeting. Strangely, I found nothing. No trace of their professional footprint, no social media, nothing. I shrugged it off, attributing it to perhaps a preference for privacy or something like that. Armand and I agreed on a day and time, and he gave me the interview location. I searched it up on my phone and realized that it was some random coffee shop in Oakland. This is when I started getting confused. Why would an interview not take place in Berkeley? We had tons of coffee shops and perfect places for interviews in our college town, so I was just perplexed. The address online seems pretty normal though, so I didn't think much of it. A day before the interview, I told my friend Riley about the situation. He was even more confused than I was, telling me that the situation seemed fishy. I agreed with him, but I figured it was worth it for the position I might be getting. He asked me how I was getting there, and I told him I was Ubering. He offered to give me a ride, as he wasn't doing anything at the time. I thanked him and took him up on his offer. Little did I know, I might not even be telling this story if he hadn't offered to drive me. It was 4 p.m. the next day, and Riley rolled up to my dorm. Admittedly, I was extremely nervous, and this was one of my first interviews. I got in the car, and we were off. 20 minutes later, I told Riley to drop me off on the street, as I didn't want to be seen having a friend drop me off for an interview. I thanked him, and he offered to wait for me. I asked him if he was sure, and he smirked, pulling out a big bag of weed from inside of his dashboard. I laughed, then shut the door. I walked the couple minutes to the location and froze in my tracks. I looked up at the literal construction site in front of me. There was no coffee shop. Even stranger, this entire area wasn't residential at all. Like all of the buildings looked closed or private. Confused, I double-checked my phone and confirmed that I was in the right location. This entire block must have been recently demolished, so recently that even Google Maps hadn't updated. I pulled out my phone to call Riley.
That's a big fucking red flag. Well, go to an interview and the fucking things is not even fucking deal. That's a red fucking flag right there, man.
But before I could, a booming voice rang out behind me. "Chuck!" exclaimed a deep voice. I whipped around and was met with the appearance of an absurdly tall man wearing an expensive-looking black suit. Thank God, I thought, grateful that this whole ordeal hadn't been some kind of setup. His presence was commanding, yet oddly out of place amidst the derelict surroundings. I should also note that the car he was standing next to was a matte black Bentley. He walked toward me with a confused look on his face. We shook hands, and when I asked him about the construction site, he said he was just as surprised as I was. He furrowed his eyebrows and put his hand on his chin. "You know what, why don't we find someplace else? Get in," he said, motioning towards the Bentley. He walked back to the car and shouted over his shoulder, "Shotgun's all yours." Without another word, he got in the front seat and shut the door. Excitedly, I followed. I walked around the car just to admire it a little, and couldn't help but glance into the back seat. I expected to see the beautiful leather seats that you would expect in a Bentley, but instead, my eyes met a sight that sent a chill down my spine. Lying flat on the ground, obscured by the shadows, was a man. In his hand, he held something long and metal. Panic surged within me, my mind racing with the implications of what lay before me. This was a trap. I turned away from the car and ran as fast as I had ever run before. I heard the man yell my name from behind me, but I didn't even turn around to look. As I ran, I heard the one sound I was dreading, screeching tires. I shot a glance over my shoulder and saw the car turning around, pointing in my direction. I had to think quickly. There was no way I was going to outrun a car. It wasn't like I could just escape the situation. There wasn't really any open space around me, just an endless maze of streets. I could feel the terror coursing through my veins. I made it to the next intersection and faced a choice that may have decided my fate, left or right. Logic told me to just turn left as it was closer, but my feet chose for me before my brain could. I sprinted across the street to the right and darted down the road. I knew I didn't have long, 10, maybe 20 seconds at most. As if by some miracle, one of the buildings in front of me had a fire escape that looked just low enough to jump onto. With every ounce of my strength I had, I vaulted myself upwards, grabbing onto the ladder. I had never done a pull-up in my life, but in my mind, this was life or death. I made it up the ladder and kept climbing. The Bentley whipped around the corner and stopped on the street in front of the building. I couldn't see the driver, but I knew he was looking at me. There was nothing else I could do. If they chose to follow me, I'd just have to fight. The next minute felt like an eternity. The car stood there a little while longer and then accelerated down the street, turning left to never be seen again. I couldn't breathe. I pulled out my phone and called Riley, basically screaming into the phone about what happened. I stayed on the fire escape until he found me. I got in the car and we sped off in silence. The aftermath of this whole thing was pretty uneventful. I sort of blocked it out of my brain and refused to talk about it, even with Riley. As far as I was concerned, it never happened. But as much as I tried, there are times, like right now, when I can't help but recall every horrifying detail of what could have been the last day of my life. This is a fresh story happening pretty recently. My family and I were driving to college to help me move in, as I'm currently a first-year student. Once we arrived, I found out that I would be living in a Jack and Jill, which means you and another room share the same bathroom. So essentially, I'd be living with 3 other guys. I already knew one of them in the other room. We met at orientation and got to know each other. His roommate doesn't matter for this story though. It's my roommate Demora who I'm going to talk about. I got his socials beforehand and we exchanged information. Prior to moving in, I tried talking to him on Instagram to get to know him better, but his replies seemed dry. On top of that, his profile seems like one of those Discord mods that you see on Instagram Reels or TikTok. Once we moved in, I met him and ironically, he looked like a Discord mod, except he had a skinny build around my height. He looked very pale and had a peach fuzz mustache. I tried talking to him again. His talking style matched his texting style and seemed very introverted. He stuttered a lot and always tried to end the conversation as quickly as possible. I tried to lighten him up by asking what kind of music he listens to, but he said he doesn't, as music wouldn't fill his cup of emptiness. To make things more weird, when he set up his PS5, he immediately started gaming. It's not him gaming that's weird, it's what he does when he games. Demora makes these weird grunting noises, violently shakes his body, and laughs when he spams the controller, and he puts his feet in his desk cabinet, occasionally grabbing his feet and pulling them towards his body during his shakes as well. He whispers to himself as he plays by himself or with his online friends, and he usually repeats what he whispered twice in a gigglish manner. He stays in the room 24/7 and almost never does homework. His movements alone freak me out as I'm trying to sleep. But there's more to this story. Sometime around the first week, I went out with some friends that I met in my dorm building, and I came back pretty late to my dorm, around 1 a.m. Demora looked asleep in his bed, so I nudged it off. As I went to my cabinet, which was right next to my bed, I felt my arm hairs get goosebumps and felt the urge to turn around. So I did. Demora was staring right at me with a slight grin on his face. I yelped and said, "Holy fuck, Demora, why are you looking at me like that?" He laughed it off and said, "Dark time," and turned around to face the wall. This creeped me out, and it happened, I want to say, 3 more times. I tried to move out, but my college said they didn't have any dorms open. So I tried to move into the other room, but one of the other roommates didn't want to leave as well. This meant I was stuck with Demora for the semester, and I just had to deal with it. About 3 months passed by, and I come back from my English class. When I opened the door to my dorm, Demora stood up in a panic, asking me why I'm back so early. This was weird, as my English class actually ended late, hence me getting back late. I asked him if he needed the room to himself, and he declined, striking some weird pose that looked like it was from some anime, and he said that I shouldn't be worried at all. I visibly cringed at him, and his statement only made me more uncomfortable. I noticed he had a box on his desk, and when I brought it up, he told me that it wasn't important. I shrugged it off. At this time, I noticed that my iPhone charger and my scissors were missing. I asked Demora if he saw it, and he said he had it. He handed me the scissors, and as he was handing me the iPhone charger, the cable knocked his box over to me as well. The box opened, and what I saw made my heart sink. A sticky note that had my name on it fell out. Alongside this was what looked to be a see-through case. Inside of it, eyelashes, a pair of glasses, a pair of my socks, and a disposable photo of me that I took as a joke. He collected all of it up off the floor as he tried explaining the meaning of it, and I yelled at him to get out. He left immediately. I texted my RA the situation, and he told me that he was out at the moment, but when he comes back tomorrow, to show him the box as evidence so that they would have a reason to kick Demora out. So I got the box and hid it within my laundry bin. I felt really rattled, and the sight of my roommate disgusted me. However, in an hour, he came back. I just told him to stay on his side and not to talk to me. After that, no words were spoken. I tried to stay awake out of fear that he might try to find the box, but after it being a long day, I fell asleep around 2 a.m. When I woke up, I saw Demora was gone, and it felt good seeing him out of the room for once, but then I remembered the box. I went to my laundry bin, and it was gone. I panicked, and not long after, my RA was knocking on the door. I let him in and told him the story. While he did believe me, he said he can't do anything without that box, otherwise he'd just be going off my word alone, which isn't much. I felt like I was losing my mind. The RA left, and about 5 hours later, Demora came back. I asked him what he did with the box. He played dumb and said, "What box? I don't know what you're talking about." I pressured him to stop playing dumb, but Demora kept denying it. I couldn't stand, look, nor be in the same room with him anymore. It's now second semester, and yes, I'm still dorming with Demora, unfortunately. He did let me know that he will never do it again, and that if he does, he'll let me know and we'll move out immediately.
Bullshit.
I took his word, and we're still dorming as of today. However, I stay out of the room as much as I can. He still creeps me out. The worst part is that I can't sleep sometimes, nor focus during the day, as I keep thinking of what was in the box. Why did he steal my photo? Why did he steal my socks? What were the glasses for? The part that leaves me scared each time is what those eyelashes were doing there. And perhaps weirdest of all, was he labeled the box with my name. This happened to me during my freshman year of college in 2019. I'm graduated now, but I often think about it. During Halloween week, my college had crazy parties daily. I attended a Big Ten school, so there are always fraternity costume parties, and even the bars make people dress up. It gets pretty wild, lots of booze, lots of police, and lots of memories. This event happened to me on the Saturday of Halloween week. Our football team had a huge win that day, and my friends and I were going to this one particular fraternity off campus to celebrate the victory. We knew about this because one of my friends, Alexandra, was dating a guy on the team. We got to the frat party around 11 o'clock, and things got pretty crazy. Everyone was getting drunk really fast, and we were all booing the school that we beat in different chants while the music blasted. I was taking shots and dancing with all my friends, having a blast. It's critical to note that my phone had died during this time. I had given it to Alexandra to put in her purse. Later, I told my friends that I had to go to the bathroom and to wait for me by the DJ booth. We were all pretty intoxicated at this point. While I was in the bathroom peeing, I heard some frat brother in the house scream "cops" at the top of his lungs, and people started screaming and scrambling to get out of the house. I sprinted out of the frat house and was greeted by multiple cop cars and lights flashing. People were sprinting in different directions. Some cops were already talking to the frat brothers, while others were trying to catch underage people. In my intoxicated state, I realized I didn't have my phone. I started yelling out for my friends while avoiding the cops. Realizing I wasn't going to be able to find them in the crowd, I decided to start making my way home, even though I wasn't entirely sure how to get home. This frat house was pretty far off campus in a different part from other frats. I started making my trek home, and it was absolutely freezing. Even though it was only October, it was like 37 degrees that night. I'm still heavily tipsy, but conscious of everything around me. After a while, I knew I needed a break to warm up and hopefully sober up. I saw a building that looked like one of the academic buildings I'd heard about, so I approached it, opened the door, and stepped inside. It was pretty dark in there, but a few exit signs at different door entrances illuminated a decent portion of the inside. After 5 minutes, I started to sober up a little bit and realized I wasn't in an academic building. I was in a warehouse. I was much warmer, but I became nervous about the eerie feeling around me. I went to open the door, and a pit sank in my stomach. It was locked. How could it have been opened if it was locked from the inside? I started to make my way towards a door near the exit sign. I pushed it open and went through the door, expecting it to lead me to outside, but it was to another part of the building. This room was much smaller, illuminated by a low red light. There was a buzzing noise in the room from some machine. I could see chains hanging from the ceiling and steam in the room. I shit you not, it was like a typical horror movie scene. I went to turn around and go back through the door, but this door was also locked behind me. Sheer panic set through me, and at this point, I was trying not to break down. I leaned up against the wall and slid down silently, crying. This is when I heard it. A door slammed shut and footsteps. I instantly went silent and my eyes widened. I heard another door shut and more footsteps. It was getting closer to my area. I saw the door next to me, and as quietly as possible, I opened it and snuck through. I started wading through the hanging chains and the steam. I heard the door from the previous room open and the footsteps approaching, and they were big, heavy footsteps. My fight or flight kicked in, and I came near a window. With all my might, I kicked it 5 times with my foot, shattering it. This was when I heard the feet running towards the door. I had maybe 10 seconds to spare. I leapt out the window, not even realizing that the other side of the building I was now on happened to be a high drop. I fell like 10 feet out of the window, landing on top of 2 recycling bins. I pushed myself off, shocked by the impact, and looked up at the window. It was shattered, and there was no one in the window frame. I dashed underneath some pine trees a few feet away, hiding myself in the shadows. When I looked back up, that's when I saw a figure looking out the window, looking in all directions for me. My whole body went numb in fear. As quietly as I could, I snuck across the street and ran. I ran for my life as fast as I could, for I didn't know how long until I recognized the side of campus my dorm was on. I got back to my dorm, and my friends were waiting for me outside, panicked and freaking out. They told me I had been gone for almost 4 hours. The following day, I told them of my experience. My friends' mouths hung open as they listened to me talk. After further discussion, I discovered that it was a building that hadn't been used in several years. The pit in my stomach hit me again. Whoever was in the building wasn't a cop. He wasn't night security. This was some random person after me. It still makes me sick to this day. If I hadn't been more quiet or thought as quickly, I could be dead. Even though I tried to find out information, nothing came up. It still remains the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Okay, that was 3 disturbing True Corners Horror Stories by Mr. Nightmare.
Sometimes when you're here, I can't feel no doubts, 'cause you keep me where the stars are bound. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter, 'cause I feel so free now. Sometimes I wonder, will we be around to see forever on the silver cloud? Sometimes when you're here, I can't feel no doubts, 'cause you keep me where the stars are bound. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter, 'cause I feel so free now. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, this is 13 Mysterious Events Caught on Live TV by Chills. Here we go.
A live broadcast can capture unusual content that was never intended to be the main focus of the show. I encourage you to take a look at these strange happenings caught live and try to help me make sense of them. Maybe together we can find coherent answers for these puzzling videos. Number 13. Imagine watching your favorite afternoon TV show and hearing this emergency broadcast suddenly cut in.
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available.
That's exactly what happened to residents in Montana in 2013. The announcer went on to warn civilians not to come in contact with the bodies as they are not safe. The television station later said that their broadcast system had been somehow hacked, though some believe that this is a cover-up story and a real incident happened. Number 12. A news helicopter is flying over Brooklyn when suddenly it loses control and begins spinning wildly in the air. Amazingly, one of the crew emerges from the wreckage a short while later, dazed but still alive. The other 3 crew members are pulled out of the helicopter's broken remains and taken for treatment. Though it might not look it, everyone mysteriously survived with only minor damage. Number 11. There's a patch of swampland just west of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that wildlife officials have been watching for quite some time. Then, one day on live TV, the moment they've been fearing finally happens.
Going down. Watch this. Literally sucked under as the ground below them collapsed.
Oh my
The video
Lord.
shows the entire area suddenly swirling and the water churning as the trees are gobbled up.
Wow.
Wow.
A giant sinkhole opens under the earth and swallows a cluster of trees whole. It's only just the beginning. This sinkhole, which first formed sometime in 2012 after an abandoned salt mine collapsed, has since become a serious problem. The last report I can find from 2016 says the sinkhole has grown to 36 acres and is about 750 feet deep. There's absolutely no way for workers to fill in this sinkhole, and wildlife officials have no idea how big it will grow to be. It's forced hundreds of people to relocate from their homes, with little signs of slowing down anytime soon. Number 10. A YouTuber named Chris Well says that he has been watching television at home when this robotic message suddenly interrupts an otherwise normal day.
All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This is not a test. The North American Aerospace Defense Command has detected the launch of several hundred Russian missiles. These missiles are believed to be carrying nuclear warheads. This is an attack warning. Repeat, this is an attack warning.
The warning goes on to give Chris some basic survival instructions and tells him to find a fallout shelter or else go to his basement for protection. At first, the message says that the missiles are coming from China, and then later it says they are from Russia, so that part doesn't make much sense. It makes me think this might be a hoax. Obviously, nothing happened on that day, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this message is fake. It could have been a prank, or maybe the government's missile defense systems really did detect something on that day and sent an automatic broadcast to civilians in response. This video was supposedly recorded on September 22nd of 2017, so if you saw the same broadcast in your area, then please leave a comment so I know this was real. Number 9. A YouTuber named Game Gandhi is live streaming a geocaching session, which is where you use GPS coordinates to locate a box that's been left by other people. You're supposed to leave something behind for the next person to find, but Game Gandhi and his friend don't even get that far. Instead of finding a geocache, they walk down a long trail only to find a mysterious spot that's full of junk and trinkets. However, something else is hidden in the background that takes a moment for them to spot.
Ooh, couch?
The two of them see a person laying in the debris. Game Gandhi gasps and turns around to get out of there fast. Nobody knows what they are doing back there, or if they were even alive. For all they know, the two friends could have stumbled across a lifeless body under the hot sun. Number 8. On January 3rd, 2007, an Australian television station began rebroadcasting the same sound clip over and over again.
Jesus Christ, help us all. Jesus Christ, help us all. Jesus Christ, help us all. Jesus Christ, help us all.
The words "Jesus Christ, help us all" plays on a loop for almost 10 minutes straight, and people have been arguing whether it's a technical malfunction or a prophecy ever since. Number 7. A car is heading down a long stretch of road, presumably late at night, based on the lack of traffic. Shortly after rounding a corner, a large pedestrian steps directly in front of a car's path, forcing the startled driver to slow down. Then his dash cam records this strange encounter. The clown gives a playful wave before menacingly stomping towards the vehicle, with both hands clenched into fists. The driver wisely backs up and drives past the crazed lunatic before he can get into his car. This could be two friends playing a joke, but if this isn't set up, then who knows what this clown would have wanted to do with him on this desolate road. Number 6. Andy Milonakis used to have a comedy show on MTV years ago, but now he mostly live streams. He's actually 41 years old and has a genetic condition that causes him to look like a child, and this often causes some odd interactions with the public, like when a homeless stranger comes up and does this, for example.
You don't take tobacco, right?
I don't take tobacco.
I like your gear.
Thanks. I'm kidding.
Okay, my name is William Bowes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've been arrested for the last 7 days. Okay, either in jail or the psych hospital.
He says he wants to go live with Andy and starts hitting on him pretty relentlessly. He says that he is going to make Andy rich within 5 months and keeps trying to get him to turn off his live stream. Eventually, William and Andy wander across a group of other homeless people, and William gets in an argument with them. They shout something back and forth about a tea party, which sounds like it might be code for something else, and then Andy decides to break away from the group for his safety and calmly walks away. Exactly what their tea party conversation was about and what William intended to do with Andy that night is unclear. Number 5. A YouTuber named Catherine Millender works at a hotel in Golden, Colorado that she insists is haunted by a ghost who goes by the name of Kathy. She claims to have direct contact with this ghost, as instanced by this live stream, which picks up strange electrical disturbances during an overnight shift.
Earlier it was like the whole room. Oh God. Oh. Do the whole room, Kathy. Do the whole room. Oh man.
Catherine bravely heads into the nearby storage room with 2 male co-workers and takes a look down the hall. At this point, they claim to see a woman at the end of the hallway, but one co-worker unintentionally blocks the camera just as the woman appears. The 3 of them all run out of the dark room back into the dining hall. Exactly what they saw in the storage room, if anything, remains a mystery. Number 4. This strange October sighting in Siberia was broadcast live from a Facebook stream. If someone can translate what is being said here, then please leave a comment so we can all know.
Кого запустил? Не. Я же говорю, инопланетяне.
What appears to be a giant swirling portal comes up across the crisp night sky. It mesmerizes the crowd for a bit and then gradually fades away. The official government explanation for this is residual rocket fuel left over from a Russian missile test, but citizens aren't so sure. Some of them think it could be anything from black holes to extraterrestrial technology. I don't have the scientific background to fully understand Russia's rocket theory, but I do know that I have never seen this light pattern caused by any other missile launches before. If someone knows more about how this strange light pattern can be caused by a rocket test, then I'd definitely like to hear more about it. Otherwise, it could be a cover-up story. Number 3. I'm not sure what country this show is from, but this man appears to somehow be able to control his heartbeat with his mind while hooked up to medical equipment to measure his vital signs. He begins to lull himself into a deep meditative trance. He keeps lowering his heartbeat until finally this happens. He remains motionless for a full 30 seconds until he restarts his heart with a gasp. I guess this could be a planned stunt for live television, but I've heard of monks and other spiritual practitioners who are able to do the same thing. Let me know if you think this broadcast is real or fake. Number 2. When this vehicle was pulled over by police, the driver decided to back into a patrol car and then take off. Now a helicopter is covering this live. The police eventually cornered
before, well, 2 helicopters crossed
the vehicle and rushed towards the driver, and that's when things take a turn for the unexpected. This was the last recorded moments before the helicopter slammed into another helicopter from a different news station.
We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police have closed in on him. We don't know what exactly has transpired between the police. Stay with ABC 15 News. We will bring you more information as we get it.
An official investigation notes that the 2 pilots failed to see each other, but exactly how remains a mystery. The 2 were close enough that at least one of them should have seen or heard the other well before this happened. Even an air conditioning repairman saw what was happening from the ground and kept shouting at them to go lower. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. I'm currently doing a super poll on my Instagram. If you believe ghosts are real, then go to my most recent photo and tap the like button. If you don't, DM me saying why. When you're done, come right back to this video to find out the number 1 entry. Also, follow me on Twitter at YTChills because that's where I post video updates. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person. Thank you. Then Sunday, standing in a field. Then Sunday, number 1. A Russian news reporter is standing in a field when all of a sudden her story is interrupted by something far more unnerving.
Все больше опасности. Только за последние 350 лет...
Олежка, смотри.
Ой, ничего себе! Что это? Вау! Блин!
A shimmering orb of intense white light appears out of nowhere and briefly hangs in the background. The dumbfounded news crew stares at the orb in disbelief until it silently fades away, seamlessly blending into the sky. Everything from ghosts, angels, extraterrestrials, and computer effects have been proposed, but I'll leave it up to you to decide what it truly is. With biological weapons on the rise,
Oh, that was 13 mysterious events told on live TV by Chills. Okay, this is Edwin Grandpa's power is back.
Yes, sir, Bob! Thank you, Mr. Electrician! Thank you, Mr. Electrician! I said you not Mexican, I'll suck your fucking dick, you motherfucker! Yeah!
Like, I know the song is copyrighted and shit.
Jeez.
You son of a bitch! Hey, Amber, come here!
What's burning?
Come here! I'll cook supper tonight! Goddamn fly, get away with my goddamn food! Look at that man, got some bread!
Where all these flies come from?
Well, goddamn, door been over 3 goddamn weeks! What's up there? Look at that, boy! I just put meat in it, it's already started turning, look at that! Yeah! Yeah, we got electricity now, motherfucker! I get on the goddamn computer later. Yes, sir, Bob. I kiss that goddamn electrician's ass. We got power, but I still want to lose up, but that's all right. He got power for it. Kill that motherfucker.
Feels good, I ain't gonna.
Stop being that goddamn motherfucker 3 weeks. Thanks to you, motherfucker. Hey, I'm telling you.
Oh, fucking computer fucking acting up. Okay, this is well, I left off.
Hey, goddamn fly, get away with my goddamn food. Look at that man, got some bread.
Where all these flies come from?
Well, goddamn, door been over 3 goddamn weeks. What's up there? Look at that, boy. I just put meat in it, it's already started turning, look at that. Yeah, we got electricity now, motherfucker. I get on the goddamn computer later. Yes, sir, Bob. I kiss that goddamn electrician's ass. We got power, but I still want to lose up, but that's all right. He got power for it. Kill that motherfucker.
Feels good, I ain't gonna.
Comes up in that goddamn motherfucker 3 weeks. Thanks to you, motherfucker. Hey, I'm telling you.
God, Jesus Christ.
Don't be God. You get that shit unplugged, and don't you plug on. I unplugged a lot of it, you know.
What?
I unplugged a lot of your shit.
No, you did not.
Okay. What are you gonna do, motherfucker? Don't plug your shit in no goddamn more. Don't plug it in.
Now you gotta get some of these flies.
I ain't worried about it. I'll kill this goddamn fly right now.
Ow!
Whoa!
Don't you?
You got a home?
Yeah.
Then fucking get to it.
I got food up there.
Well, that ain't my... How about that? Bitch?
That was fucking gross.
Ah, goddamn. That's good food.
I'm not eating that.
She is.
Oh my god. Okay, that was Adrian Grandpa's power is back. Like at the end where he itches his ass with the spoon, I will probably do that.
say, where am I? Third, second chance. You take my breath and I can't get it back. Might be time for me to face the facts. The best me is with you, but I know I got a lot to prove. They think we're too damaged to fix.
Okay, this is 5 scary videos you can't handle watching through my chills. And before I watch it, I'm going to be right back. Okay, I'm back.
I really think this top 5 list is scary enough to stop you from finishing. Let's see if you can prove me wrong. Number 5. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out.
Stuff from the 1800s. You No, that gotta be haunted as fucking hell, man.
Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything, and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge. The very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold
The house haunted body.
enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. Something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait.
Your house is haunted.
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago.
Good idea, buddy.
Cemetery.
Good fucking idea with a baseball bat.
Outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. Number 4. If you've been watching Scary Countdowns for a while, then you've probably come across this video at some point. What other channels don't bother to tell you is that there's an additional 2 months worth of evidence to analyze. But first, let me start with this viral video of their fateful first encounter. On May 3rd, 2011, a strange man who they've never seen before randomly stands outside of the apartment of a YouTuber named Andrew G.
If that happened to me, I'd call the fucking cops and got his whole ass fucking knob.
Niece. Andrew and his girlfriend do what most people would do and dial for help. Here's the original phone call with the authorities. Tell me if you think it's real.
And he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now. Yeah, male, maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 30, I guess? I can't tell.
There's never an actual voice on the other end, which makes me suspect it could be staged, and I thought 911 operators were trained to stay on the line until police come. That's not what happens here.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's where most channels leave off, but this is actually just the beginning. What most people don't know is that there's another 911 phone call made by his girlfriend the very next night on May 4th to anyone who has ever worked in emergency response. Tell me if this second phone call sounds legit, or if they're just pretending to talk to someone.
I'd really like you to do something about it. Yeah, my boyfriend already made a report. We're at there's a parking lot behind our house. Yeah, 650. Okay. Thanks.
Another night passes, and the figure returns, silent and wide-eyed as ever. Andrew gets upset enough to say something this time, and look what happens to the camera when he does.
Hey. Hey.
I don't know what's going on.
A red flash occurs at 58 seconds, a brief electronic disturbance possibly induced by an intensive wave of emotions, perhaps a telekinetic reaction to getting yelled at. I only say this because the exact same curious red flash happened 6 days later on May 12th, except this time, their stalker is not even there. They simply sense him and then the flash appears.
He's not even there!
Alright.
And by June 17th, it's gotten to the point where Andrew's motion sensor camera keeps zooming in on a figure that simply isn't there. The equipment is having trouble focusing. In other words, on the very same spot where their not-so-secret admirer had stood for over a month straight. So is Andrew manually making it go out of focus, or is there an invisible phantom figure really standing there like he says? But I'm getting way ahead of myself by mentioning the events of June. That's a particularly bad month for them. And we still aren't done talking about May 8th to be exact, when they first started to suspect the perpetrator could be supernatural.
Hey, look, he's thrown the window.
His arms are at his sides, and yet something pings off the window.
Fuck, I don't even see him throwing anything.
But how is he doing that?
And sure enough, there's another odd flash at 1 minute and 6 seconds, like something's feeding off the peak of their fear, growing stronger. No longer is the watcher satisfied with leering at them from the corner. He now wants inside. A full month of harassment accumulates in scraps of paper, all saying the same word, hello. Apparently, this is some form of psychotic social interaction for whoever's doing this. A creepy game they are just beginning to play. Time only makes the man grow bolder. By June 20th, the tapping is all over their windows. It's the sound of someone's finger against glass, and yet there's no silhouette to be seen. Either they are behind the couch tapping, or they're somehow making this noise from the alley outside. Left on the window is a picture of this creepy smiling face with X'd out eyes. Only someone who's really into the idea of tormenting two totally innocent people would bother drawing this, let alone deliver it in person. Little does Andrew or his girlfriend know they are less than one day from seeing him up close for themselves. On June 22nd there's more tapping, which is not even that unusual by this point, and so Andrew's girlfriend goes to the window thinking that no one is there. She throws open the blinds, still recording for evidence, and... waiting for her is the Watcher himself, closer than he has ever been before. It's hard to see, but at 47 seconds he's holding an illustration of the same grisly face as before, X'd out eyes, this time with a message that says hello in the same handwriting as the scrap notes left by their door. I doubt he just wants to only say hello for much longer. Soon he will probably be saying goodbye to them, probably moments before he ends their lives. So if he's standing outside of the house in May, and outside of their window by June, then he will probably be standing somewhere inside their house by July. Thankfully they managed to move out before my theory gets put to the test. Now in a different location with iron bars, they finally feel safe for the first time in months, but their hopes of a peaceful life are shattered by the 1st of July when a familiar figure slides in. Something's off about this extra blurry entrance. He doesn't walk into frame so much as simply materializes, and come to think of it, I've never actually seen him move before. Then when it's time to leave, he vanishes, leaving only a faint trace as he walks. It could be the camera, or it could be editing, or it could be an actual ghost, in which case this may have been the last video, but I doubt it was their final encounter. Number 3. Annie Bennett and her boyfriend move into this old farmhouse 2.5 years ago, and have been experiencing a lot of strange happenings ever since, particularly in this blue dining room. The instruments tend to play by themselves over the years, but for some reason this piano has been getting all of the attention lately, so it's where they decide to set up the camera. Hardly anything at all happens in part 1, which is 10 minutes long and slow enough to elicit some angry comments from people too impatient to get all the way through, but then there's some good moments that I want to point out, like how at 4 minutes and 17 seconds there's a strange light on the wall for absolutely no reason. It doesn't look like a laser pointer and it never happens again. Then the clock strikes 2:19 a.m. and mysteriously pops open. I see no string and no other way for them to have done this, but maybe you do. I suppose now is a more appropriate time to share more about the history of this farmhouse. There used to be an old woman who lived here all by herself. They say at 2:19 in the morning was the exact moment when she is said to have passed on. She was said to have been musically gifted. At 2:19 is also where the Spencer piano seemingly plays by itself. So this high note is conveniently coming from a key that's not even on camera. Obviously Annie or her boyfriend have to be sitting off to the side, or at least that's what I thought until I saw this next part. Okay, so that's not supposed to happen. I'm thinking that maybe the piano wires are worn out and old, which can sometimes cause a note to play by itself, but I don't think that's why, because nothing like this happened for a full 10 minutes prior. This tray and clock move at the same time. One of them could have pulled the tray by the corner that's off camera, sure, but the way the clock's open is something I can't explain. And as the night wears on, the spirit becomes stronger, able to play more. Please tell me this piano is one of the old-fashioned types that can play by itself, otherwise I have absolutely no idea how this is possible. And even if it can play by itself, I've never seen a piano that can do what it does at 5 minutes and 49 seconds. Self-playing? Maybe. Self-shutting? No way. I guess Annie could have slammed the lid shut while off camera, but after this reflection fades away like someone is sitting down, I can safely say I've officially run out of rational explanations and can only assume this to be paranormal. And I don't care if someone is sitting off camera or not, there's no way for them to play a piano with the lid on. I can't even explain half of these paranormal occurrences, so I have to conclude that this farmhouse is almost definitely haunted by someone who refuses to accept that they've passed on. Number 2. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f***? This is what I'm saying! Disconnected again! What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
As tired as I get, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired at my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
Jesse, Mike, Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it. So that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost. So I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real. or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address, I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real, follow button. Uploaded on October 19th of 20. Number 1. Dylan is chillin' YT, and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. This video, uploaded on October 19th of 2018 by a YouTuber named McLaylan, has gone viral across many different countdown channels. As many times as I've seen this video, none of them have ever given McLaylan proper credit. These channels all insist this video was real, but McLaylan is a super talented special effects artist who made this 3D model using a rubber duck of all things. When lightning strikes at 1 minute and 5 seconds, you can just barely make out the rubber duck shape against the sky. Other than that, there would be nothing to suggest that this was fake other than the title of the original posting, which literally calls it a Cthulhu rubber duck. I think McLaylan used a rubber duck to demonstrate that anything can be made scary using special effects, even toys. So if you ever see a countdown channel saying that this video is real, know that you're getting inaccurate information for that entry. I just wanted to give credit where credit is due. Some giant creatures are all over the
Okay, that was 5 scary videos you can't handle watching through by chills. I'm going to end it by destroying myself. If you like it, please subscribe, like.
You make me feel like home. You turn around.